Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Red Path. My name's Brian, and this here is Greg. Welcome, Greg, for
Oh,
your first Red Path YouTube video that we've kind of done together. I know we've had that intro video just a couple days ago, but I don't really think that was. Now it's time to get you dirty. It's time to get you into this stuff, man. And there's no other way than to get you on a World Leaders YouTube channel, other than to talk about not World Leaders, right? We are not here to talk about World Leaders today. Games Workshop dropped a nice surprise on us for Grotmas. And today we're here to talk about Night Lords, because as some of you may know, I am a big Night Lords fan. I have been collecting CSM for a little bit. I tried making Dread Talons work for a little bit. It was really fun. Didn't really work, but it was fun. And it turns out I got somewhat of a little bit of a Night Lords cult in the Discord, and I want to continue to grow that. And it turns out Greg, as you may know him in the Discord, was one of those members of the Night Lord cult. How are you doing, Greg?
doing well, doing well. I'm excited for what we got with Grotmus and to talk through the detachment rules with you.
Yeah, and of course we're gonna have a little bit of hobby content on the side. I mean, this is a fun detachment. I think this is a good detachment too. And with that, it's going to spark a little bit of hobby inspiration too, I hope, from Greg too. So if you're looking for how to paint
Absolutely.
some lightning bolts, if you're looking for how to paint a nice Night Lord blue, I'm sure that will be coming out
How to paint some trim.
in
That's
the
always a
future.
good one.
Yep, and you know what, it is my personal goal as on this channel to make all of the hobbyists of the channel paint my armies for me. That is the whole reason why we brought you along, is so I can lock you in the basement and make you paint my Night Lord's army. So, with that, we're gonna walk through the new detachment, guys. All right, everybody. I have my screen shared, and now we're going to be talking through Nightmare Hunt, the replacement to the dreaded Dread Talons, which was, if I'm being honest, quite a bad detachment. It was fun. Night Lords, they've decided, are going to have the Battle Shock focus as their sub-theme for the entirety of 10th edition, which is fine, I guess. Battle Shocks are like a rule in the game. They're relevant sometimes if they go off, and I actually think Nightmare Hunt versus Dread Talons manages to make Battle Shocks actually worth it, which is a big difference, right? Did you ever play Dread Talons, Greg? How much Dread Talons did you get to play?
No, I haven't. I'm still in my infancy of collecting CSM and building them with the anticipation of working towards uh, a Night Lord's army. That's the whole plan. But I'm very much
Well,
in the hobby phases of it right now.
Terror Made Manifest, which is their new rule, for a lot of the viewers that may be unfamiliar with Dread Talons, is a strict upgrade to it, and I'd actually say substantially more so. This is a head and shoulders better than what it used to be, and it's not that much different, right? If in your battle structure step, if your opponent's command phase, somebody's within 12 of one of your CSM models, and they're below starting strength, they have to take a battle shock test, subtracting one from the result. Uh, and then you can't use this to proc a normal battle shock check. This is just replacing their normal battle shock step. Now, this is identical to what they had in Dread Talons, and that was all they had in Dread Talons,
Right.
right? And I mean, it's a little thematic, it's a little fun. Something that people aren't used to is that your leadership can't get better or worse than 5 or 8, so you're capped at that. But forcing battle shocks sounds like, oh man, that's not really much, but over the course of a 5 turn game, getting something below starting strength is not a high bar, right? That's like failing a hazardous check on a Redemptor Dreadnought. Congrats. You're below starting strength. Throwing a grenade at a Land Raider. Congrats. You're below starting strength now, right? It's really easy to do chip damage here and there. And I found when I
Right.
was playing Dread Talons originally, like a Vindicator, I'd have a CSM Vindicator and be like, yeah, I'm gonna shoot the big gun at that tank over there, and I'm gonna shoot the Havoc launcher that way, and just like a random cultist unit, right? The Havoc launcher is not gonna do anything to the Land Raider, right? So getting to get some chip damage on both means that battle shocks are gonna be happening, and I'd say that was one thing from my experience. people definitely undervalued is how frequently these battle shocks are going to start happening. Like your opponent's army is not going to be 100% healthy all the time, and stuff isn't going to just die. It's going to gradually die, but chip damage here and there is really where this detachment shines.
And that will add up, right? That over the course of the game will definitely add up.
Right, because then you get like situations where, like I said, you injure those cultists. Not really cultists are a bad example of this, but you injure something that's standing on an objective, and your opponent's really going to stare at that and be like, "Do I want to auto pass this early in the game, like on turn two?" Like you have a JPI squad with four dudes on it. It's like, and it's lead seven, maybe even lead eight. Like making them think about that auto pass, and you'll actually chip quite a bit of primary away from your opponent. And secondary is because they'll be like, I drew established locust, but I have four units in the middle of the table that all failed their battle shocks this turn. So they're just going to be staring at it in disappointment. Granted, it's a battle shock detachment. It's battle shock focused. Passing an eight up on a dice is not unlikely. It's shouldn't happen. I mean, more often than not, but there are going to be games where your opponent just rolls eights and you do nothing. That is the downside of being a more RNG focused detachment. But Greg, you want to take us through the next rules that we got in here?
Sure, we can take a look. The this is all additional, right, from what
Yep.
Dread Talons did
All,
not have.
all of this is just gravy.
Right, this is where it gets nice. So each time a Heretic Astartes model from your army makes an attack that targets a unit that is below half strength, add one to the hit roll, which is just straight up stacking on top of what you're already doing as your army rule. That's a 100. It's a huge
Yeah.
benefit.
And
Right.
below half strength is like maybe you hit there, maybe you don't. I'd say that's like a cherry on top. You're probably not
Yeah,
looking for that, but when you find it, that's like everybody forgets that 8 bound have a second rule on their data sheet. Or they have the plus one to hit aura, but they also have the plus one to wound aura. Everybody forgets about the plus one to wound aura, because it rarely happens.
because
But
it's usually all or nothing, right? You try to,
yeah, for
yeah,
world eaters, yeah. But I mean, if we're talking, like I said, chip damage, which is going to be the name of this attachment, if you
it'll
shoot a
still
ha
be,
yeah,
yeah,
if you shoot a couple havoc launchers at some cultists and you get them to four, granted being plus one to hit and cultists, woohoo, right? But it still will come up. It's just nice to have this in addition.
right. And then the next rule is each time an attack targets a Heretic Astartes unit from your army, if the attacking model is battle shocked, subtract one from the hit roll. Um, I think this is again situationally great. It's always good uh, to put your opponent at -1 to hit. Um, I don't know how that keys into everything else. We can talk more about that though. What do you think, Brian?
Yeah, so I mean, again, all of this is extra to the previous Dread Talons rule, which is really nice to see that they realized how kind of weak and sporadic it was. So a big problem that I found myself in when I was playing Dread Talons previously is you had to invest a lot to make sure something was battle shocked, right?
Right.
It wasn't enough to just say, hey, that thing needs to take one test, and if I pass that test, my army works. If you fail that test, my army works. If you pass that test, I guess my army doesn't work, right? So you needed to build a lot of redundancy
There's a lot
into
of
your
single point
list.
of failures.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So you had like the winged demon prince, which can force a battle shock check. Old noise marines used to be able to force battle shock checks. You had a couple strats and a raptors, right? So you could like line up six different battle shock checks on one thing. Like if you really needed a problem gone, you could make it take six, 8+ battle shock checks. You're going to get it eventually. The problem with that is now you've lined up six things to force one thing to take a battle shock check, and
Overextended. Yeah.
now you've overextended, right? So
Yeah.
for me, if I'm going to be overextending like that, and again, like if you're putting like six things in the middle of the table, that doesn't mean they have to shoot at the one thing. Like you could battle shock it in the first one, then you can start looking at other things to battle shock, right? Making your opponent also just -1 to hit on everything that makes the overextension not feel as bad, right? That
It's a
makes
defensive, yeah. There's the defensive side of the detachment rule that kind of helps because you're sticking your nose out there, right? You're very
yeah,
worried about the
you're
risking it.
you're being rewarded for overextending just a little bit. Like it takes a little bit of that pain off.
Hmm.
And then on top of that, each time a heretic is started his model from your army, it makes an attack that targets a battle shocked unit, add one to the wound roll. That right there is the money, right? That is where we're going to get into the gravy of this detachment. So all in all, your opponent has to take battle shock checks, and if they fail them, very bad things happen to them, right?
Hmm.
You were +1 to wound to them, they're -1 to hit into you, and maybe you're +1 to hit too. Probably not, but that has nothing to do with the battle shock. That's just if they're below half strength, cool, whatever. That rule's going to get forgotten a lot, but it's nice to be there, right? Definitely doesn't need to be there. So in terms of an arm or a detachment rule, it's fun. Like it's fun, and I don't think it's bad. I think that do I think it's hyper competitive? Do I think it's better than Renegade Raiders advance and shoot and B plus one AP all the time, which is just kind of boring but also generically good? No, it's probably not better than that. It's probably not better than that. It's probably not better than pack bound where you crit on fives. But as far as making Battle Shock work, I think this is the best you can do in terms of this mechanic. Which, if they've decided to make that their theme, making this Night Lord's army be the best Battle Shock army in the game, cool. That feels good. That actually does feel good in a little bit. So, moving on to enhancements. I know there's one in here that caught your eye, Greg, and I'll let you talk about that one here in a second. Starting off, we have Gray Veil Hex. Chaos Lord in your army has the stealth ability, so you're just -1 to hit. Cool, good start. And you have 18-inch lone hop if you're on an objective. If you're on an objective, which is fine. I think this is if you have the extra points. Granted, we don't know what the points are yet for this detachment, which was kind of one of the annoying things at this moment, guys. This is pre-slate recording. So I can't tell you if this is like an auto include or not. If this was 5 points, yeah, you put it all the time, every day of the week. If this
If
is
it's
20 points,
30, yeah,
yeah, no, right? So, this is nice because if you manage to split your army or opponent up between two different areas of the table, you can really punish them, spread them out. I know we have some uppy downy tricks in this detachment. Um, Again, you spread them out, you make yourself blown up. Maybe they're not shooting at you, maybe they are. 18 inches is actually quite far. It's not that hard for them to drive and shoot you, but
yeah,
this is definitely from like if you have Terminators on one side of the table on an objective and they have this 18-inch lawn off, your opponent may not be able to deal with it, right? That's just something they may not be able to handle. Next up, we have warp-fueled thrusters. This is the exact same. You put this on a Chaos Lord with jump pack, and he goes up and he goes down, just like a Galactus Assassin. Pretty good.
it
Actually.
seems just as good as it was before. Right.
And yeah, and it's the exact same. I mean,
Yeah, I mean
previously,
the relevance of use in the detachment, it's just as good, if not better, because of other things we can talk about, right? But I think it's great.
like I said, and I think that another fun like th theme you can build into in this detachment, which we'll get onto in a little bit because it's coming up very soon, is a little bit of an uppy downy build. You can have this dude solo, and
Mhm.
he's just an action monkey that's annoying, and he's running around doing your chores. You can attach him to raptors, which is really fun to just drop down and be like, eat plasma, and then try to bang a 9-inch charge. You can do that. Or you can just have him just dirtling around, right? He can be a combat piece in the middle of the table. But I think this is an auto take enhancement no matter what, because at worst case scenario, it's a solo jump pack lord, which is really cool. I like little fun little tech models like that. Um, okay. Next we have Terraglut Parasite, which is a hell of a name. Like
It's a mouthful.
Terraglut. Heretic Astartes model only. At the start of your fight phase, each enemy within range of you must take a battle shock test, subtracting one from the result. Like I said, battle shock redundancy. Maybe you take this, maybe you don't. That means you're going to be +1 to wound. Like if you just put like a Chaos Lord of 5 Legionnaires and you just like throw this if you have the extra points on the Lord and you just jam it into somebody, you're like there's a 60% chance you're +1 to wound going into them, right?
Right.
And you have full rerolls to wound on an objective, like I don't know, extra points, pretty good. But I'll let you take this next one, Greg.
The good one.
This
The
is this
book.
is this is the reason why people are going to be excited about this detachment.
Yep. So Sorrow Sent Vulture. The first part of this is it attaches to Chaos Lord jump pack model only. Models in the Bears unit have Scout 6-inch ability, which is awesome by itself. But then adding in that the during battle formation, the bear can be attached to Warp down Talons is just insane, right? That's
It, it we should have had this from the beginning.
right.
This should have been here the whole time, and I'm happy that it's here. And I'm not going to complain anymore about it. It's here. I think the implications of this are quite huge. Scout 6 Warp Town, like you can just Scout 6 Warp. Spoiler alert: that detachment also has just no restrictions, advance and charge in it. We're gonna get there, but you can have 10 Warp Talons, scouting up the table 6, advance and charging, blowing something up, and then
And just
pacing out.
yeah,
Poof!
they're just gone.
And now you have a jump lord to bring them back in and be like, yeah, free rapid ingress at the in the middle of the next turn. Like if you go first, you can blow something up turn one, and then re-ingress back on your opponent's turn one,
And just keep
and just keep the pain
right.
going. And a lot of the other detachments that do this, like Liam VSL at LGT, he ran the 10 man to good success, right? You can run the 10 man and Raiders and the other detachments. They always felt like they had the ability to whiff pretty hard, right? And they felt like they could like it is a lot of attacks, but it's I think they're 4 attacks a piece at 5-2-1 twin
Right.
linked.
Yep.
But if we stack the other buffs we were just talking about, where you get them to be +1 to wound, you get them to be like -1 to hit, they get really obnoxious to actually deal with. And +1 to wound warp talons are disgusting. Like strength 5 twin linked, you go to wounding like Marines on twos,
Who's
10
yeah.
you will rip 10
Just
berserkers to
pick up.
pieces. They're gone, right?
Just yeah.
And now you have like the added like I mean the Lord has like 5 or 6 power fist attacks too. I'm not sure off the top of my head, but like
It's the
he
same profile, but he has a bunch of attacks. Yeah.
yeah, he's like 5 or 6
Power
power
face. Yeah.
power fist attacks. But like that's important because he has like I said, warp talons can be prone to whiff, where you like walk into something you should kill, you low roll, now your 270 point unit is just stuck there and it's going to die, and you don't get to do the funny thing where you disappear, right? Giving them more lethality is really good. Giving them +1 to wound means that we're keeping up with the other detachments in terms of lethality. Granted, you still have to get them battle shocked, which is still a hurdle we have to cross, but there's some other things in this detachment that we can talk about in the strats. But I mean, how excited are you for that, Greg?
It just sounds fun. I'll be honest with you. It's the most exciting part of the detachment, and it just sounds like a very thematic way to play the army. If
And you
that's
pair,
what you're looking for.
yeah, and you pair that with the brand new Warp Talon and Raptor models that are coming out soon. Like, oh, and you have Nightmare, the kill team,
The Nemesis Claw, like the
Nemesis.
stars have aligned for
Like
all this
you
to
can have
come
a
together.
very hot looking Night Lord army on the table right now that is kit bashed well, head swapped well, pile up some spikes and corpses up on your Land Raiders and your
Yeah,
Rhinos, and you can have a very nice looking army. But getting
exciting
straight into
time.
it, some of these strats, some of them have not changed, some of them have changed for the better, getting rid of some of the restrictions. And like I said, guys, I don't think this detachment is going to be top tier competitive Chaos Space Marines, but I do think it can actually hang with the big dogs a little bit. And I do think that if you're planning on playing this in your locals, it actually has some serious teeth. So starting off, talents sunk deep. One heretic Astartes infantry unit from your army that has not been selected to shoot or fight this phase, add 1 to the AP characteristic, or if they're battle shocked, add 1 to your AP. If they're below half, add 1 as well. So they don't have to be battle shocked. They can be below half. Granted, if they're below half, they're
Right.
probably dying anyways. But this is huge because a lot of these strats, which a few of them, spoiler alert, used to be locked to shooting or fight or shooting. It was like shooting for the strat only, and the next strat would be fight phase only. This is shooting and fight phase. So
AP3 Warp Talons sound really fun.
yeah, no, cranking them to AP3 now, right?
Yeah, AP3 Warp Talons.
Yeah,
Yeah,
or AP4 las cannons, right? Or literally just +1 AP blank on anything is just generically good.
it's
And
very good. Yeah.
I believe it was restricted to just fight phase previously, which was a big sad. So now having access to +1 AP in either phase is just a nice, and that was the big complaint with Red Talons that made it feel clunky, is that it felt very, you had to have the stars align for that one unit, right? Like if you were playing a shootier build, you're like, wow, this strat almost does nothing for me. Sweet, awesome, right? Now, if you want to play a shootier Night Lord build, you can. If you want to play a more melee heavy Night Lord build, yeah, can, right? And the strat will feel good in both ways. Like it just didn't feel right. It always felt like it was clunky. Next up, Prey on the Weak. Again, open to both the shooting and fight phase. The strat is the exact same as it was. I think it let you reroll the wound roll previously. They took that away, but eh, whatever. I'd rather have access to full rerolls in either phase. It's the exact same if your opponent's battle shocked or below starting strength or below half strength, full rerolls to hit. Just generically pay 1 CP, bam, full rerolls to hit. Are we seeing the combo yet for these Warp Talons? Where you walk up to something that's battle shocked and you're like, yeah, I'm AP3 +1 to wound, full rerolls to hit. Bye-bye, twin linked. Like
And they're just gone.
you're
Whatever.
just
Yeah.
blending them, right? How about you take this next one, Greg?
Yeah, sadistic display, 1 CP for a CSM unit. It's a sticky, right? No, this is, I'm having a hard time reading this. Each time an enemy unit within 6 inches of an invisible to your unit, they you just force a battle shock, right? Except
Yep,
for
you
monsters or vehicles.
you kill an enemy unit, you force battle shocks,
Yeah.
and it's each enemy unit within six. Right. So if we pair this with raptors, which have aura of negative leadership, and they also force battle shocks as well, right? Like I said, it's all about that redundancy. We get
Hmm.
um your opponent's gonna be taking battle shocks in their command phase, and then it's gonna roll over to your turn, and you're gonna react to whatever's battle shocked. In your turn, if you need a battle shock your opponent, we have access to, like I said, raptors. We have access to the strat. We have access to the demon prince. There's a few other odd battle shocks here and there, but that's mainly where you're going to be leaning, right? And if you're in a fight phase and you see that a lot of your demon prince battle shock didn't go off, you see that your raptor battle shock didn't go off, and you really don't want your opponent to interrupt on you, this is like the last resort, I feel, where you're just like, hey, I've killed something because I got to swing first. Now I'm going to try to battle shock everything around it. Cool. I shut down your interrupt. Awesome, right? So I don't see you using this strat a lot, but this is your last panic button, which it's not bad. It's situational. Uh, it being restrictive of monsters and vehicles is like sad, but like I won't cry. I've actually won a game with, there was a similar strat to that. I've won a game with that strat. I think it used to say that you had to kill a character.
Oh,
Uh,
this is much better than
it's much better, but you're still not going to use it often because I feel like I said, this is
it's your panic
y
button. Yeah,
your opponent's passed four of the battle shocks you've handed them, right? Moving on, malicious surge, advance and charge,
yeah,
1 CP. Wow, those warp talon bricks really getting the work done.
yeah. The next
Uh,
one's pretty straightforward too.
yep,
Fall back and charge, right? There's not much else to it there.
yep. And the key thing here, it's only hitting on infantry, which is, I mean, I'm not gonna cry. Your poor little Vindicator stuck in combat, whatever. It's gonna shoot in front of it. And then lastly, they did downgrade this one, unfortunately, but they did open it up a little bit more. Your movement phase, 1 unit of yours that came onto the table, force a battle shock test, subtracting one from the result if something is within 12 of you. So if you're looking at sending in your Warp Talon brick and it's really early in the game and there's something behind a wall that isn't battle shocked, you can drop, hey, here's a squad of raptors to go do establish locus in your backfield, and they're going to battle shock that dude that the Warp Talons are planning on going after anyways at -1, probably -2 because the raptors are there. So you can really power up like your warp talents with this. This is just like a handy, again, this is, hey, I need that thing battle shocked now. It does exclude monsters and vehicles, but I need that thing right there battle shocked. You can have multiple tools to be like, all right, do we want to deep strike and do it? Do we want to fly over you with a demon prince to do it? Do we want to have raptors come up and charge you to do it? Do we want to kill something next to you to do it? Right?
Hmm.
And there's a few other ways to induce battle shocks, but realistically, like if you needed to battle shock one thing to win the game, you have like 5 or 6 different ways to do it.
You're not relying on just that one thing going off, and then it's a coin flip if it does or not, right? That's
If I flip a coin 7 times, it's going to come up
well,
heads
sure, but
notes.
when it was
Yeah,
just
yeah, yeah, yeah.
once,
Oh, it
yeah,
was, yeah. When it was just once, you're like, ah, I hope it happens, which,
your house of cards just falls and you're out of luck.
yeah, so like previously, like the Noise Marines, when they'd shoot you, they'd force a battle shock check, which I think Noise Marines are still good here because they make your opponent -1 to their leaderships, which is important. So the key thing here is how do we get our opponents making battle shock checks at -2? And this gets old fast for your opponent. I'll say, when I played Dread Talons, my opponents were ending the game with like 7 CP. Even if they'd beat me, they'd be angry because they just didn't get to play. They just didn't get to use strats the whole game.
How much
And
does this die go to count CP? We'll check.
yeah, but
Yeah.
it felt like I was going through all of this work to battle shock my opponents, and it felt like I wasn't being rewarded for it because it was like all of my strats revolve around you not using strats, and it was like cool. Now we're gonna have a data sheet fight, right? Just my
Mhm.
data sheet versus your data sheet, like men in the middle of the table. And
They
usually
didn't
the
have
redemp
anything that keyed off of them being battle shocked to then push you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You had the +1 AP, you had the rerolls hits to wound, but they were locked to their specific phase. And +1 AP isn't enough to carry an army
No.
in one spot, right? So it was very like it felt clunky. And then sometimes you do all the work to get them battle shocked, and then something of theirs wouldn't be, and then they'd still be just pounding you with. whatever they have. And it just felt bad, but like giving the army act more upsides to achieving the battle shocks to make it so that, hey, you don't get strats, and my strats actually do something, and I'm +1 to wound. Because all of this says, hey, take a battle shock check. And previously it was like, well, if you're battle shocked, you can't use strats. That was it, right? Now it's like, hey, you're battle shocked, I'm +1 to wound into you, and you're -1 to hit into me. That's something substantive that actually makes the detachment not do nothing. I mean, if your opponent's doing nothing and you're doing nothing, like sometimes they just have better data sheets than you. Like a Redemptor Dreadnought standing in the middle of the table, battle shocked, is still going to blow your Raptors up, right? So,
Yeah.
yeah, it's really exciting. Do you have any like gut takes from this, Craig?
This is Warp Talons, the detachment. That's what I think we've come to the conclusion, right? That's what they're really pushing. But I feel it's fun. I can definitely see myself. I'm a big fan, not so much on the competitive side for Night Lords, but eventually I'd like to play that. But I can see this being used across, all avenues of the game, all different types of it. It's just a fun detachment that's really fitting with it's on theme with what you would expect, right?
Yeah, and I feel like it makes Battle Shock as a theme feel good to use.
It feels relevant. It feels like
Yes.
it's you're not jumping through these hoops just for nothing. Like there's a reason for it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, you put 1,000 points into like I have rerolled a hits. Thanks. I could have been playing Veterans of the Long War the whole time, right? If I'd wanted to just play the Battle Shock detachment and then try to get for reroll to hits as the payoff, I could have played Veterans. And this feels like there's a little bit more there.
yeah,
And like Greg said, this is the Warp Talon detachment. Well, I wouldn't necessarily be spamming a bunch of Warp Talons, but I think that one 10-man Warp Talon brick in here is going to be a nightmare for your opponent, right?
yeah. I don't think you have room for anything else, but the 10 man is
Because
definitely
they're pretty expensive, right? And that's going to be an expensive unit. But you combine that with like the uppy downy Raptor squad that's going to be with the Jump Pack Lord. Combine that with your Warp Talons that are going up and down every turn. You're going to be traumatizing your opponent at all points of the table at all times, right? You have a little bit of chip damage, right? I think you have a chosen unit that runs into the middle of the table, throws a grenade in one direction, that has +1 AP. Like I said, that Lord with the Battle Shock enhancement when he just touches you and he's like, "Hey, I'm gonna Battle Shock you." Like that is keeping up with the gimmicks of the other detachments where you're like, "Hey, well, this Lord gets +1 AP on this objective." Well, it's like, "Hey, well, no, this one's gonna walk up, say you don't get to Armor of Contempt, and be +1 to Wound Indeed because you failed your Battle Shock, right? Because you're taking it at -1." So the it just feels a little bit more functional here, right? Also,
right.
cool little tech piece. You can throw the Chaos Knight Abominant in here and make a nice Night Lord Abominant because that dude points at things and says take battle shock checks.
Hmm.
So if you like want another one in here and you really want to play with your big knight on your shelf, I think this is like a really good thematic way to get like
It fits. Yeah.
a knight into a list. Like Abominant is actually pretty solid in this list, and I'll probably write one into it myself. With that, guys, like I said, we just wanted to talk through this detachment real quick because I know Greg and I were very excited about it. I don't think it is the end all be all bees knees competitive. Is it fun? Yes. Does it work? Yes. Will it feel good to play? I think so. I legitimately think so. It'll feel good to play. And it is my personal goal to win an RTT and do well at a GT. I promise I will take this to a GT as soon as Greg paints it for me.
Yeah.
But do you have any last comments, Greg?
I do not. I'm good.
All right, guys. Thanks for sticking around. We kept this nice and short. Stay tuned for some more Red Path content out of us. We have a few ways if you want to support us and get pick our brains just a little bit more. We are very active in the Discord, so check out our Discord and our Patreon if you ever want to keep a tab on what Greg is up to while he's hobbying up these Night Lore pieces, or what I'm brewing for a list at the moment in time. Feel free to check out our Patreon. If not, feel free to ping us in the Discord too. We will respond there. Uh, all that good stuff. Check us out. Check out all of our links down below. We are planning on putting out probably another video in the next few weeks. I think we're going to try to jam this detachment at a event at some time soon. Maybe be a gray army of mine at an RTT, but I'm still going to do it, damn it, because I love this attachment. So with all that said, Greg, why don't you take us out?
Everyone remember to stay healthy, stay safe, and kill, maim, burn.